Good evening. My name is Marty Sheets, and I am a board member of the Summit County Seniors, and we appreciate you all dialing in tonight. We're trying out some new technology, trying to get some interest back into the Summit Seniors, and we thought we'd trial this tonight. So if you got good constructive information for us, or if this is a great idea, please let us know after we're all done. We are here with Sharon Henry, and she's going to lead us through these wonderful recipes. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. My name is Sharon Henry. I've lived up in the Summit County area for about 2 years with Mr. Chuck Drake, and Marty's a very good friend of mine. We spend a lot of time on the trails, on the ski slopes together. So it's a real pleasure to have all of you here and learning a little bit about Healthy Heart Month. Healthy Heart Month is February. Oh, and before I go into anything about heart health, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that Marty and I were both immunized. That's why we're hanging out together. And it's been 2 weeks since we've received our second shot. So do not worry, we're not passing COVID between the two of us this evening. So thank you for that. You know, I had a very unusual thing happen to me at the age of 49, which is about 20 years ago now. And back then, I was diagnosed with a heart attack. And I didn't really understand how somebody at the age of 49 who was very active, going to the gym every day, doing all the things we're supposed to do. I'm a dietitian, so I'm eating correctly. So it was kind of a shock to me. So at that point, after being diagnosed with a heart attack, I became a spokesperson for an organization called Women Heart. And Women Heart trained me to go around the United States and talk to people about what are some of the risk factors, what do you feel if you're having a heart attack, especially a woman. Women and men have very, very different symptoms of a heart attack. And for me, all it was I had a pain in my back and I could not walk up a flight of stairs. This is someone that was at the gym for an hour every single day, hour and a half every single day. So that was not normal. So knowing that that was not normal, I actually called a friend who took me to the hospital, and they looked at me and they said, "Oh no, you're just having an anxiety attack. There's nothing wrong with you." I said, "Well, why can't I walk up a flight of stairs? And why do I have this pain in my back that just won't go away?" So they did an EKG. They ascertained, yep, she had a heart attack. So that said, it's really important to understand what your risk factors are. And I want to go into some of that with you this evening. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth about that, but there's really 3 types of risk factors. The first type are things about yourself that you cannot change. What would that be? I'm a woman. I'm 67 years old. I can't change that. And I didn't choose my parents. So the heredity part of it is very much a factor in predetermining whether or not you are at risk for a heart attack or heart disease, if you will. Let's talk about, since that you can't do anything about, let's talk about what you can change. And the things you can change are things that you do on a daily basis. So for me, I was never really a smoker, but if you are, you can stop smoking. That's a great, easy thing to do. It's not easy to do, but it's one of the big risk factors that you can cut out of your life. And I do something called Know Your Numbers. So Marty and I were talking about this earlier, and it just so happens that we both have something in common that not everybody knows about, but if you know your cholesterol, cholesterol is made up of 3 things. When you have your blood work done every year at your docs, when you go for your physical, and I hope you're all doing that, you need to have kind of a benchmark of what your numbers are. So when you get that blood work back, understanding those numbers is very important. I would tell you to go to probably the Mayo Clinic their website, and they do a wonderful explanation of what these numbers mean and how you can track them. So for me, I try to track the healthy, the HDL, healthy fat in my blood. The LDL is the lousy. So think of it that way. HDL is healthy, LDL is lousy, and triglycerides are just not good in any form, but they are in all of our bodies. And it's something, it's a sugar and a fat that get attached together. So just understanding what those numbers look like and watching them over time is a really good way to be following what your healthy, your lousy, and your triglycerides look like. Another number that you should always track, if you will, is your blood pressure. So your blood pressure is something that I think we all know. When you've got elevated blood pressure, you feel kind of lightheaded or dizzy or something like that. But tracking it over time and knowing and trying to keep that blood pressure into a normal range, typically that normal range is 120/80. So I think a lot of us up here, we exercise, we do the right thing, we diet, and I think that our blood pressure is probably better than most people's around the country. Physical activity, another number in my mind. How many of you, when you're hiking or walking, are you tracking how far you go and how fast you're going? If you're downhill skiing, if you're cross country skiing, whatever your activity is, but just kind of keeping track of that. You know, I think Marty and I hike. Yep. She's got her watch on. She tracks exactly how far she goes. And this is just something to challenge yourself. If you can't get outside and do heavy activity, then I would encourage you to just walk around your house, do some, easy calisthenics, that kind of thing. So the whole idea is to get moving and stay moving. And that's going to keep us healthier. As far as excess pounds, that's something, another number. So if you have a lot of people say, no, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this week. Well, you can't do that, because every time it takes 3,500 calories taken out of your weekly diet to lose 1 pound. So we're going to talk a little bit about what calories look like tonight. We're going to focus on a little bit about how to read a label. And the last thing I want to talk about a number is when you have your blood work done, they do something called a fasting glucose. So that is something that is another number. Let's be aware of it. If it's over 99 and it's a fasting glucose, it's probably you're creeping into prediabetes. So just again, keep those numbers in mind that I just talked to you about, and know that those can be adjusted based on your lifestyle. So the last risk factors I'm going to talk about are what we call contributing factors. They are alcohol consumption, undue stress, nobody likes stress, and dieting. So when I say dieting, I think people get a little concerned about, I really don't want to go on a diet. I don't like to go on a diet. That's not for me. But think about more of a diet as the food you eat. It's the nutrition you take into your body. So diet is what you eat. And we all know we are what we eat, right? So tonight, I'm going to start out by making a recipe that I sent to you, or was sent out to you by Phil, that it's called tzatziki. Tzatziki is a really fun kind of Middle Eastern recipe. I've got a cucumber here. I'm going to grate that. I'm using a grater. I'm grating it into actually it's a coffee filter. Why are you doing that, Sharon? That sounds kind of silly. So I'm doing that because I like my cucumber flavor to actually be concentrated. And if I grate it into this coffee filter And I'm going to let it sit. And then later in our time together, I'm going to squeeze out the excess water that is created when you actually grate a cucumber. And what it does is enhances the flavor. It just makes it taste so much better. So I'm almost down to the nub here, and I don't want to cut my finger, but for those of you that if you have a box grater, this is just a simple little grater that they have them at Williams-Sonoma, Target, that type of thing. But it's just something that, and that's what your, Shane, is this good if I do this? So I'm going to hold this up, and that's what your grating looks like. Your coffee filter's inside your colander, and then I'm going to let this sit for the rest of the time that we're together. We'll put it together right before the end of the presentation. So that said, I use something all the time when I'm cooking that I didn't know they had containers of yogurt quite this big. I mean, this is a big container of yogurt. But this has, for two-thirds of a cup, it's only 100 calories. And what you can do with it is make wonderful dips. And that's what we're doing with the tzatziki tonight. We'll put that all together after the cucumber is drained. But also French onion dip. So Lipton makes this cool little pack of French onion mixture, if you will. It's got some grated onions in it. It's really pretty yummy. I don't think Chuck can tell the difference when I give him this versus the sour cream French onion dip that he sometimes enjoys. But what this does is it takes all the fat out, where sour cream is made out of cream. It's high in fat, it's high in cholesterol, all those things you want to keep out of your diet because the calorie level zooms every time you consume fat. The other thing I like to do is this. This is dry ranch dressing mixture. And if you follow the instructions, I usually use about a cup of the low-fat yogurt, non-fat yogurt. This is Greek yogurt. And back when I started doing these classes years ago, Greek yogurt wasn't around. So I always had to drain the yogurt, low-fat, non-fat yogurt to get this nice thick consistency that Greek yogurt is. So this is one of the great things that I think that you can use and use it in a lot of different things. So add your flavoring to it. The good thing to do is to put it in the fridge for a while to let the flavors kind of meld together. But like I said, 2/3 of a cup of this, 2/3 of a cup, that's a lot, is only 100 calories. So speaking of 100 calories, there's some things here that I'd like to show you that constitute 100 calories. And I don't know if you do much label reading, but in my profession, I like to teach people how to do that. And if you can look at your things that you have in your kitchen. This was all things minus a couple of things I had to go out and buy today that I had in my kitchen. So for instance, Triscuits. On this plate, we have 5 Triscuits. 5 Triscuits is 100 calories. Yes, yes. So for those of you that kind of sit and eat a lot of cheese and crackers and, oh, well, this is healthy, Triscuits are good. They are good because the good thing in the Triscuit is the fact that there is dietary fiber. So that's a great thing. So we're going to start there. Then I go to this little guy. We all like these handy little packages. You know, we take them hiking with us. We have them for lunch with an apple. So this one little pouch, and this isn't even all of what was in that one little pouch. This is about 2/3 of it. This one was 140 calories. So I had to remove the whole, well, a few of them. Can't remember the exact number, but that's 100 calories. So these little pouches are deceiving. A lot of them will say they're 100 calories, but make sure you read the label. Because they're individually packaged, they have to have the calorie content and all the nutrition facts on them. The next thing is good old potato chips. Rippled potato chips, great with dip. They'll go really good with the tzatziki we're making. However, if I told you that is 10 chips and that is 100 calories, is it worth it? Can you sit down and eat only that many chips? That's a challenge I'm going to send home with you. Yep, and you're going to see if you can do that. The next thing I have are these pretzel crisps. Everybody's like, well, there's not that much fat in pretzels, and truly there isn't. This only has 1.5 grams of fat. So that's actually a nice food in terms of the, and you can kind of see we're kind of getting bigger portions here. So this, I believe, this was 9 of the crisps. Actually, it translates to 100 calories. The mother lode, though, you got to tell, is this right here, which is your popcorn. And if you're really, every dietitian would agree with me when they say, if you're really looking for a snack that kind of gets you satiated, it gets that mouthfeel going, you know, you can munch and munch and munch. This is a kettle corn that is lower in fat. It's the Boom Chicka Boom Pop or something like that. I don't know, whatever it's called. But the great news is it is very low in calories. That is 3 cups of the popcorn is only 100 calories. So that's kind of an overview of what the 100 calories looks like. When we have, talking to beverages, everybody, you know, it's great to have a Coca-Cola now and then. Here's a 100-calorie Coca-Cola, pretty small. These, on the other hand, are flavored seltzer waters. I have a variety here. I have pineapple, I have strawberry, I have iced tea. I have, this one's a lemon. This is a key lime. The great thing about these is they're 0 calories. There's no sodium, there's no anything in there. So it's a good, refreshing way to hydrate. And up at 9,100 feet, we all have to stay hydrated. And that's a key to your health as well that I hadn't discussed with you yet. So now I'm going to ask Marty. Marty's here with, we're going to make a fruit salsa. And I'm hoping you enjoy this recipe. This is something that I made for my kids for years. And it starts out with a flour tortilla, the big bag that you get at Costco, or they have the same ones over in Safeway or Whole Foods. And what Marty's going to do now is she's just going to take these tortillas and she's going to spray them with butter flavor spray. And then she's going to coat them with sugar and cinnamon, really yummy. The great part about this is it's when you use this spray, it's literally no calories at all. And Marty and I were talking earlier about this when we were little girls and we go to our grandmother's house. Your grandmother would give you a little piece of dough at the end of her pie making day, and you were allowed to put butter, cinnamon, and sugar on that dough, and she'd bake it for you in the oven. So I'm sure a lot of you have those memories. But this now will go in the oven. As the recipe says, we're going to put it in there for about 10 minutes. She's sprinkling both sides. It's going to go in the oven. And she's going to cut these into, how many parts did you do? 8? 8 parts per tortilla. So that's a nice little portion size. So put as much on or as little on as you like. Yep, looks just like that. And then she's going to take her handy dandy pizza cutter. She's going to stack the tortillas. She's going to lay them onto the baking sheet and put those in the oven. And they're going to become this great accompaniment for the fruit salsa that I'm just about to make for you. So before you all got here, I did a lot of chopping and a lot of prep. But basically, on this red plate right here, we have the ingredients for the fruit salsa. So the fruit salsa is very eye appealing, I think. You know, it's something that, wow, that looks really good. I like the colors in it. It's actually a really great holiday kind of thing. But like I said, my kids growing up just loved this stuff. It was just a staple in our house. I always had some in the fridge. They could use it for waffles. They could put on pancakes. They could put on toast. They didn't care. They would eat pretty much anything, but it is yummy. So with that, I'm going to take my strawberries. I have a half a pound of strawberries here. They've been finely diced, and I'm going to dump them in my bowl. Then I'm going to take a half a pound of red raspberries. Red raspberries have been chopped a little bit, but before I do that, I want to show you how I cut this strawberry. Is that something you can get into there, Shane? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just take the strawberry, I cut it in half and lay it down the flat side. This keeps it from rolling around on your tray or on your cutting board. And then maybe cut it 3 or 4 times one direction and 3 or 4 times the other direction. And one key thing to any good kitchen or anytime you're trying to do a lot of chopping is a great knife. Make sure they're sharp, keep your fingers out of the way, all that good stuff. The next thing is we've got our red raspberries. They're going to go in there. See all that lovely juice and color? The thing I like about this is that all these fruits that I'm using tonight are high in vitamin C. And for up here or anywhere, just to have that high vitamin C content in your diet is wonderful. The next thing I have, this is a chopped up apple. You can see it's chopped very, very finely. So I'll show you how I did that really quickly. So I'm going to take this apple, thinly slice it, turn it again on the flat side, and then lots of little cuts one direction and lots of little cuts the other direction. And that's how we're doing our apple. So you guys think your grandkids would like this? Your grandkids like this?
Yes.
Okay,
Love it.
awesome.
Love fresh fruit.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's good for kids. I think it's good for anybody, but. All right, so I got my apple, my strawberries, my raspberries. Put the rest of my apple in. And as per the recipe, folks, just so you know, I took a lemon and I zested it because I wanted a little bit of that lemony zest flavor in there. But so when you're zesting a lemon, I think the easiest thing to do, and I always do it wrong, so bear with me. Hold the lemon, take your zester. This is a really critical kitchen tool that I use all the time, as Mr. Drake knows, and you put that zest right on in there. So it's a great tool for ginger. It's a great tool for garlic. Many, many things I use this for. And then I use my lemon squeezer, cut it in half, squeeze the lemon juice, and then I put that on the apple. Why did I do that? I did that, not that it really matters after I incorporate all these things together, but you see how it didn't turn. Apples don't turn when they have a lemon juice on them. So that's going in here. And then the last thing I'm going to incorporate into this salsa is kiwi. So there's the 4 ingredients that you have right here. Very rich in vitamin C, very good for you. And then we're going to mix it together. But before I do that, I have 2 tablespoons, and it calls for in the recipe of a jam. I got a seedless raspberry jam. That's what I'm using tonight. I'm just going to put that in there. Again, beautiful red color, total yumminess. We're going to mix that together. And then my lovely assistant, Marty, is going to put this into a serving dish. And we're going to show you what it all looks like at the end of the presentation.
How long will that keep?
So this actually, that's a great question, Marty. So what this will do is it's good to meld these flavors together. So typically about 10, 15 minutes at least, and then it will stay in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days. Yep. Because remember, it's got that lemon juice in it. So it's gonna, there you go, Marty. Thank you so much. All right, well, thank you. Any questions so far, Phil, that we know of?
I'm still here. We do not have any. Actually, we do have a question from Helen. She is asking, can you please go over how to cut the kiwi?
I'm sorry? Oh, the kiwi. Oh,
Helen's
sure.
question was how to cut the kiwi.
Yep. So obviously with kiwi, it's got this little hairy outside on it. It's kind of a berry. Kiwi is a berry, a big berry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off both ends. And then you're going to take your knife and very thinly cut around the kiwi. And kiwi, I didn't know this, but I saw some kiwi today. They actually come into, they're golden kiwi or green kiwi. So I went for the green kiwi. I think they're both equally high in vitamin C and fiber and all that good stuff. So once you have all the skin removed, there's your berry, that beautiful kiwi berry. Then you're going to take it, cut it in half. Then you have two halves. One half, slice it that way. The other half, slice it lengthwise. And then do several small cuts like this, trying to keep it all together. And then several small cuts like this. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Would anyone like a bite?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to the label reading just a little bit. So what do you think the most important thing? I love live audience interaction, but unfortunately, because of the way we're doing this today. So what, either Chuck or Dave or Shane, anybody in the room here with me, Marty, what do you think the most important thing on a label is? There you go. Having your glasses so you can read it. How about that? Yay! Yay, that's right. So serving size, that's why we did some of these little serving sizes here so you could get a better feel for what is a serving size. These, for most people, would not be a serving size. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're looking, for instance, on a box of Cheerios. Okay, I have a box of Honey Nut Cheerios here. And the serving size, with the aid of my glasses, is going to be 1 cup. So you know that 1 cup is going to give you 140 calories. You know that it's going to give you something else that I really focus on when I'm looking at a label, and that is dietary fiber. Because you can get some cereals that have absolutely 0 dietary fiber in them. But if you want, I mean, in a more balanced diet, if you will, you're going to look for fiber of between 3 to 5 grams. 3 grams is a good source of dietary fiber, whereas 5 grams is what we call an excellent source of dietary fiber. So knowing that, reading the label, looking at that. So what else do you think is important in a serving size? Marty? Fat. How about that one right there?
Calories?
The calories per serving size. So this one says it's got 140 calories per serving size. The Special K Red Berries has 140 calories, and that is for 1 1/4 cups. And 1/2 of a cup of grape nuts is 200 calories. So why would you eat the grape nuts? Because you're looking for nutrient-dense foods. So a lot of our cereals and a lot of, quite frankly, our snacks are not nutrient-dense. That's why I really like to, when I'm talking about good nutrition, a good healthy diet, I like to talk about nutrient-rich foods. So for me, it's fresh fruits and vegetables. It's all the things that are the color in our diet. My plate here tonight was beautiful, lots of color. I can put my kiwi back up there so we can check it out. This is what you do. You eat with your eyes. And the more color in our diets, probably the healthier our diet will be. So back to my label here. If I'm looking at the nutrition on this box of grape nuts, it tells me that I have 7 grams of fiber. So what did I tell you earlier? Earlier I said a good source of fiber is 3 grams. An excellent source of fiber is 5 grams. So a super excellent source of fiber is going to be 7 grams. That's why these grape nuts, they're condensed. It's only a half a cup. And I guarantee you, once you start to measure your food and see what it looks like in your particular bowl at home, then you'll know what that serving size is. It's something that we all don't do. We pour it, we have no idea how much we're eating, and we have no idea how many calories we're eating. So the other thing about these the label, I've talked about the fat a little bit, I've talked about the fiber. The one thing I'd like you to keep in mind when you're reading a nutrition label is, for instance, on this box of Triscuits, this has 3.5 grams per 120 calories. The rule of thumb for fat content in foods is 3 grams per 100 calories. You don't want to, I can tell you, how many grams of fat do you think are in these chips? Any guesses? The answer is 10. 10 grams per 150 calories. So if our rule of thumb, Marty, is 3 grams per 100 calories, is this acceptable? Yeah. So I know. So I'm just trying to get you to think differently about the foods we eat. And remember that fat grams are 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrate and protein is only 4 calories per gram. So that's why we limit the amount of fat in our diet, because it renders 2.5 times basically the number of calories per gram of food. All right, I think we're going to go back and we're going to, I want to show you what happens. Remember I put my grated cucumber into a coffee filter and into a sieve. We've got a lot of liquid that came out of that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my little coffee filter here, and I'm going to squeeze. And I'm wearing a dark background, so you should be able to see all of that liquid coming out. Do you have to do this? No, you really don't have to do it. But to be honest with you, it just increases the flavor intensity of the cucumber, and that's how much water comes out of it. You could drink it, you can put it, Shane, we could put it into a broth, right? You can make our own cucumber stock if we wanted to. So the next thing we're going to do is take our Greek yogurt, talked about the Greek yogurt, the mega size I got from Costco, and if you look at your recipe, this stuff works pretty good. Yeah, liking that. So this is 1 cup of Greek yogurt. And there's even a little, whoops, we're not going to do that. I'm going to just drain off. Remember, we're making a dip, so you want it to be nice and thick. You want it to be, have a good body to it. So take our grated cucumber. We're going to put that in with the yogurt. And we've got some really good things we're going to add to it. Remember I told you about this little grater? One of the things I like to do with this grater is garlic. Because garlic presses are kind of messy, this just helps you to get a nice fine grate to it so you don't get big chunks of garlic. And I'm not going to take it all the way down because I like my fingers where they are. But I might do a little more because I can get a lot there. So as much garlic as you like. And the other things I have measured out here already are again, in the recipe, a little olive oil, some lemon juice, and some salt. I'm going to add that. I have some chopped, I use fresh herbs. You don't have to use fresh herbs. This is fresh dill that I got today. And I also have some fresh mint. If you don't like the flavor of mint, you prefer dill. And this is up to your personal taste, the amount that you use. So gently fold all this together. And voila, you have a wonderful dip that, remember, nothing in here other than a little bit of oil has calories and the non-fat yogurt. So here we go, just mix it up. It's beautiful. It does look good. So we're going to do a little presentation for you now to show you. I'm going to move a couple of these things out of the way. And Marty, are you ready to show folks what this all looks like and how you can serve it? Let's go to the tzatziki, which, yeah. Thank you. So with the tzatziki, you can certainly serve pita bread. You can serve these little guys here, these pretzel crisps. You could serve my favorite, which is right here. And we're going to just, yep, Shane's got it. And do we want to put it up here for you, Shane? Sure. That'd be awesome. So we'll put it up there. And there is your tzatziki platter. I've got some Greek olives, some stuffed grape leaves, but most importantly, again, the color. Look at the color of what we have here. It's just beautiful. It's inviting. It makes you want to eat it. It does. Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I know. That's the great thing, right? And then the second presentation, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at remember the pita crisp, the tortilla crisp that Marty did. And that's how they look. Yeah. Yummy. So with that, I've gone through quite a bit of information. I want to hear what you as participants would like to hear more about. We have about 15 minutes left for questions and answers. Hopefully I have answers. So Phil, is there anyone that would like to ask any questions?
If anyone would like to ask a question, please go to reactions and raise your hand. I'll then unmute you.
Yeah, you guys want to come on and try this. Yeah, help yourselves.
Anyone have a question? Oh, what we do have, let's see. Oh, we have a thumbs up.
All right, what do you think, guys? I guess that's the end of any cooking show, is to see if the audience is enjoying what they're eating. What do you think? Are they enjoying it?
Very
Yeah.
I will not double dip.
That's good. I have some questions for you. Maybe if I ask questions, you can answer them. I'd like to know if anyone learned anything tonight. I see some hands raising, waving. Did anyone learn anything tonight?
Well, as we're waiting for some folks to raise their hands, I will say that I learned a lot.
Well, thank you.
There's so many good tips in here. I just really appreciate what you all have done. But it was amazing.
Oh, nice. Dang, I'm happy to hear that. What was your biggest takeaway, Phil?
So some folks I actually, some of the tips that you have about cutting, also like I didn't know that lemon helped like apples prevent browning. So that's fantastic. As I'm looking at the comments here, Pat Kingston said that she learned a lot about what to read on packaging. Like that was really helpful to her.
Cool, awesome. You know, there's one thing I didn't talk about that I think, and Marty and I have been talking through some of these things lately, so she's familiar with what I'm going to say. But the thing that, again, the word diet scares people, I think, because they feel like it's restrictive. So I think when you look at the food you eat in a different way, it really does become more of a lifestyle. And that's what I want your takeaway to be. I want your takeaway to be that this is a healthy lifestyle. I used to teach a class called Healthy Habits for Life. And it's just a habit changing. It's a modification of things that you do in your everyday life to make things more healthy for you, to make it more nutrient rich because you're using fresh fruits and vegetables, to read a label because you now know what to look for on a label. So these are simple changes you can make. And a lot of folks, when they're doing dietary intakes, if you will, they write them down. They write down everything that they eat throughout the day. If that's what works for you, I would encourage you to do that. And I say that because a lot of us will do things like just absent-mindedly eat. And we don't even know we're eating. So a couple of ways to break yourself of that habit is to make sure every time you have a meal, you sit down, you don't stand, you make that meal the focal point of what you're doing. You don't multitask, you make the meal the focus point. And I think the other thing is, if you can change one little thing that you do in your diet, maybe it's drinking more water, maybe it's eating more fruits and vegetables. You should really eat about 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. A lot of us don't do that. It's very hard in most people's minds to do that. But if you have a bunch of these fresh vegetables cut up like this in your refrigerator, guess what? They're there. Another tip in the refrigerator, when you open the door, the first thing you should see are the things that you want to grab. So if those high-calorie foods like those M&Ms.
I was just going to say the M&Ms that are in my door. You're not supposed to know that.
I know, but I know where they are. So if that's something that you have, make sure you just kind of tuck it away, make it a little harder to get to. And have those nutrient-rich foods right there waiting for you to. We always have celery and carrots cut up in our refrigerator. And it's a good snack. It really is a good snack. So, okay.
So we did have we had a question from Mary Ann, but I think she popped out. So there's a question in chat from Marty, and Marty noted that you used olive oil, and he asked, is that the preferred oil? Could you talk about oils a little bit in cooking?
Oh, yeah. Well, when she sprayed our little tortillas, she used a butter-flavored spray. Now, that's not to say you couldn't use a canola oil or an olive oil. I use butter-flavored spray because that's what my kids like. So that's why I did that. Olive oil, I did use in the tzatziki, and that was something that's one of your heart-healthy oils is olive oil. So that's why I used that.
So there was another question. Mary Ann actually went ahead and wrote hers. She says, I've been buying full-fat Greek yogurt Should I change to no fat or low fat instead?
I think it depends on what you're making. This particular recipe, it doesn't matter. If you're using the whole fat Greek yogurt, you're getting about 4% butterfat in it, which is not high. It's like whole milk versus skim milk versus, I'm sorry, whole milk, 2% milk, skim milk. So that's akin to the different fat contents in Greek yogurt. But I mean, 4% of fat, whole milk yogurt, it does taste really good. It's really yummy. So I like it for my cereal in the morning. I use a whole fat yogurt with my cereal.
There are a lot of comments about grape nuts, and everybody is running out to buy some right now. So a lot of grape nuts comments in the chat.
They rock. They really do.
Does anyone else have any questions? Sorry, go ahead, Sharon. I'm not seeing anything.
No questions?
I'm not seeing any other questions. On behalf of everyone here, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This was fantastic. A lot of clapping.
Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoyed it.
On behalf of Summit Seniors, we want to say thank you for participating. I want to thank Shane from Silverthorne Photography who put up all these cameras.
Yeah.
So I think that worked out great. I want to thank Phil and your IT team. I really appreciate that. I want to thank Sharon very much. I want to thank our taste testers out here. And again, this was an experiment. We brought it up at the board. We want to get more participation. Summit Seniors who can't get in the building yet, but if this is a way that we can do it, we can reach out and you can interact. Let us know, let the board know what your ideas are. If you're interested in leading a class, please. Chuck kind of drug Sharon into this. So
Happily,
yes. Please let us know. It can be anything. It can be science. It could be cooking. It could be nature. It could be whatever you're interested in. Photography. Please let us know. And also, if you know someone that could teach it, we can help get this set up and move forward and get a lot of participation for Summit Seniors.
You may send a note.
Thank you all. And remember, pay your dues. Appreciate that.
Signing off, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.